What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you checking in. All right, with OTAs in the books, there's a report that surfaced. And if you guys have followed me for a while on this channel, you guys know I'm big on building in the trenches. I do believe that any successful offense really starts in the trenches by building that offensive line. And so, because this report definitely stems around our offensive line and some shuffling, I want to talk about it. There's some aspects to this move that I really like, but at the same time, it also opens up some really big question marks moving forward. But at the same time, there's a player that basically sat out the last day of OTAs. He was present, but he did not participate. And there's some rumblings as to why that is. And so, before we get into it, if you can, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway is at 5,500 subscribers. So if you want to be included in that, hit that sub button. But I'm gonna kind of go ahead and share the screen. According to Sean Reed from The Athletic, Dylan Parm did not practice Thursday due to an undisclosed reason, and Thayer Mumford stepped in as the first string left guard. And now, here's the thing: is because Thayer Mumford moved down to the guard position, and it's his first time doing so, I think he was getting the first team reps because it was the last day of OTAs. So you want to give him as many reps as possible before they go into this basically almost month and a half stretch of not reporting to the facility. So I think that he was only getting the starting reps because you want to give him as much work as possible before they get into this stretch of downtime. And then Mumford spent his first 2 years with the Raiders playing left and right tackle. I think he had more success at the left side when Colton Miller was going through some injuries, but he did start some games at guard in college. He's someone to keep an eye on as another option. So I'll kind of go back up to the big board. And like I said before, there's definitely some aspects that I like about this move, but it also presents a lot of questions moving forward. And I'll talk about Dylan Parm at the end of this. Now, we all know Thayer Mumford really just did not work out the right tackle position. I think it was last year. I wanted to draft Talisi Fuaga because I thought we had a hole there and we needed to fill it. We need someone to kind of anchor that right side because I really had question marks as to whether or not Thayer Mumford could be that guy. Obviously, we have Colton Miller on the opposite side anchoring down that left tackle position, but sometimes a change in scenery can help, right? He has some experience in college playing the guard position. Now, obviously, he hasn't played it at the NFL level, and so it remains to be seen just how effective he can be at the guard position. But here's the thing, when you move him down to guard, this is a very crowded group at the guard position. You got guys like Jordan Meredith. We brought in Alice Kappa as a free agent. Obviously, we drafted Caleb Rogers, and so we do have competition. I'm going to talk about Dylan Parm in just a second, but you bring him down at the guard position, and because he didn't work out at the tackle position, there's a good chance that he can't compete, and he can find himself maybe being better slotted as a guard moving forward. So you have more competition. And just keep in mind, Thayer Mumford is not a small human being. At 6'6", 320 pounds, I do think that he has the experience as well as the size to contribute and potentially be a threat to compete for the starting position moving forward in the 2025 season. And so I do like the fact that they moved him last day of OTAs. You kind of get that ball rolling. Now he's going to take the next 3-4 weeks before the report back to the training facility to study up on the guard position and give himself the best chance to have an impact at the guard position going into this season. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this move, Thayer Mumford moving down to guard? Let me know, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's a good move, or do you think he's going to be the same Thayer Mumford and he may not have a chance at potentially making this team now that he's moving down to guard? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, lastly, let's talk about Dylan Parm, because Dylan Parm, he did not practice. Now, maybe he didn't practice knowing that Thayer Mumford was going to get all the reps because they wanted to get him as many reps as possible due to it being the last day of OTAs. Maybe that's the reason why. I could be overthinking it. This is purely speculation. But one of the things that I noted in one of my past videos was that if they wanted to move off of a player that could have the biggest impact to the salary cap, they brought in Alice Kappa, they drafted Caleb Rogers, they have Jordan Meredith, which I think could be a very good guard in the National Football League. He proved it last season. And so if you wanted to make a move that would increase the salary cap, but also move on from a player that's on the last year of their contract, and you know that he may not be the answer moving forward because you did draft somebody like Caleb Rogers, you can increase that salary cap just a little bit and give you just a little more room to potentially make another move in this offseason. Obviously, all the talks are kind of surrounded around Jalen Ramsey. If the Raiders are truly looking at one more splash and bringing in another veteran and help out a position of need, and there's a lot of questions in our cornerback room, maybe that's the move you make. And Dylan Parm can give you just a little more salary cap to maybe get to that point and bring in Jalen Ramsey. So let me know in the comment section down below, do you think it is time for the Raiders to move on from Dylan Parm? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also, one of my biggest question marks with Thayer Mumford now moving down to the guard position is, who's our backup tackle? Obviously we drafted Charles Grant, right? You drafted him in the third round. And so the hope is that he's going to be able to develop into a starting tackle at some point. But here's the thing. I do think that he needs at least a season or two to become a viable starter in the National Football League. I think he still has a lot of development to go. And the thing is if we have DJ Glaze or Colton Miller go down at any point in the season and he's not ready, I do think we're doing him a disservice by throwing him in if he's not truly ready. And if Thayer Mumford moves down to the guard position, our next backup truly on this roster is Dalton Wagner. And Dalton Wagner has proved that he just has not had, he doesn't have what it takes to be able to make either this 53-man roster, let alone be a starter in the National Football League. And so if we don't find another tackle to potentially slot in earlier in the season, what happens if we see an injury like we did last year to a lot of these players on offense and on defense? If we see an injury to one of our offensive tackles and Charles Grant just isn't ready, I do hope that we have someone ready to slot in and we don't fall back on the overall production of this offensive line, because we need to give Genty all the resources possible to find success, and we have to protect Geno Smith at all costs. And so again, one of my concerns with moving Thayer Mumford down is who is going to be a viable backup going into this 2025 season at the offensive tackle position. So let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think is going to be the true backup moving forward? But also, do you think Charles Grant is ready? Because in my mind, I don't think he's ready. I think he needs at least a year or two to really understand what this level of football is, coming from a small school, William and Mary. I'll be absolutely surprised if he is fully ready and can produce at a high level if he's slotted in very early in this 2025 season. So I appreciate you sticking with me. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway is at 5,500 subscribers. So if you want to be included, hit that sub button. I definitely appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.